Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Brubaker, and this is Career Search Lunch and Learn. We are a career search and support group, networking and support group. We're here to provide you with resources, with support, with the networking, with the tools that you need to move from this group to your next forever job. And yes, I did say next forever job because I no longer believe in forever jobs. I was speaking with somebody earlier this week who'd been with one company for 33 years, and now he's at a loss. Okay. He expected the company to be there for him. Well, it doesn't work that way anymore. Honestly, it probably never has. But you are in charge of your own career. And so that's why we talk about next forever jobs, getting your materials in place, getting your network in place, getting the coaching and the support that you need to be able to move to that role where you are hiring that next boss as much as that next boss is hiring. I've come to this role with 30 years worth of experience in human resources. I've been an HR business partner, a hiring manager, a recruiter. I managed talent acquisition, and I was an external recruiter as well. On top of that, I've been doing this career coaching, this career transitions work right now for the last 9 years. And I'm happy to report that 950, we've actually reached a milestone, 950 people that I've worked with since I've been a coach have actually gotten offers. So what I'm telling you, and the only reason that I'm telling you that is part of that, remember, know, like, and trust. I want you to be able to know who I am, but I also want you to be able to trust that the information that you get in this group is information that works, based not just on my experience or the experience of Sue and Ken and Virginia and all of those people who are coming here to support you, but also based on what we learn from you, what we learn from our colleagues, the research that we are always doing to make sure that we have the most up-to-date information, not just from an influencer, but from what really works. Okay, so that's what that's all about. That's the end of me. I'm going to go ahead and let Virginia, if it's okay, I'll let you introduce yourself. No, go ahead and introduce yourself now. Okay, and then we'll go into our quick wins.
Do you want me to introduce myself?
I'm going to let you and Ken and
Okay.
yourselves. Yep.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Well, hi, everyone. Kenneth Lang here, Northern New Jersey. It seems every time I chat here, we talk about the rain that we've had here. We had a lot of rain here yesterday, a lot of flooding. I'm here to support Linda, Sue, and everyone else here. My latest focus is on the job search scams and spams and the like. I've been actually engaging with some of the spammers to see how they respond to me. My goal is to work with Mark Anthony Dyson, Jay Jones, Stacy Sapar, where they actually have a website where a lot of the recruiters can go to put things in. We're looking to have a separate entity there for job seekers where they can find best practices. So those of you that know me know I post about this almost every day because it's kind of like my mission now. So happy to be here and support everyone. Sue, it's great to have you back, and Virginia, it's great to see you again.
Agreed.
Thanks, Ken. I'm happy to be back. I missed this. So I caught the replays and I told Linda I'm wearing blue. I was in pink this morning because Abby reminded me to match the logo, and we already have our branded pom-poms. I don't know if I can come up with blue every week. I love blue, but I realize I don't have as much. One quick tip, Linda, I'm going to take 3 seconds because I watched the replays. I noticed when Linda does introductions, sometimes if we have time, she'll go around and mention everybody's first name. If you're on camera, and whether or not you're on her main screen or not, you don't know, but if you're on camera, take that opportunity to wave, because I kept looking around trying to find who was being mentioned. It's another, that's right, David, but when your name is mentioned, but I appreciate the audio visual help, because that will again get you noticed. Just do something so that we see you in that box, because you never know what your friends are recording as either. All right, thank you. Virginia, I learned so much from you all the time. If you're not on her newsletter, sign up for it. And Virginia, I'm sure we'll drop the link later after she's done being busy answering questions. So on to you, Virginia.
Gosh, thank you so much. I learned so much from all of you. But this is my first time with this group, so I really appreciate the invite. I really briefly about me. I'm a writer. My degree is in journalism. I always tell everyone I wrote resumes for free for 1,000 years until I realized that anyone did it for a living. Um, when I was drowning in childcare, I launched my company so that I could stay home with my then 4 little kids. Now they are out of my house. But I write career marketing collateral, resumes, LinkedIn profiles, cover letters, and the like. And so that's uh, and then my job search advice is anecdotal. It's not, and so I don't do job search strategy.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to take you all off screen for the moment. There we go. Okay, I am going to go around and wave at everybody as if I can read your name, and I apologize. Sometimes I can't, but I'm going to see what I can do. But I'd like Sue's advice. Wave when you hear your name. So I want to say hi to TJ and Kim, Ken, Virginia, Al, Andrea, Antonella, Audrey, Beverly, Karina, Carolyn, Carl, Charles, Christian, Craig, David, two Davids, Debbie. Don't keep moving my cursor up. Sorry about that. Elizabeth, Ellen, Ethel. Oh, Ethel, welcome. Haven't seen you in a long time. Nice to see you. Sorry to see you, but nice to see you. Galena, Inna,
Thank you, I'm back.
Jim, Joey, John, two Johns, Juliet, Karen, another Kenneth, Lisa, Lorena, Ludi, Marilyn, Mary, Matthew, Michael, two Michaels, Pam, two Pams in the house, Rachel, Richard, Scott, two Scotts, three Scotts, Susan. Hi, Terry. Nice to see you. Tessa, Tom, Vicky, and Victor. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry. And if I mispronounced your name, I am sorry. But we'll do what we can. But it's nice to see you all here. Okay, we're going to start and do a very quick wins. TJ, you've had your hand up since we started this process, so go ahead and share your win.
I made it to a second round interview.
Excellent.
That's my quick win.
That is a quick win. Okay, how did you find the job?
LinkedIn, but they're starting to come to me now. In the last week I've had an uptick of I had about 4 people reach out to me, one scammer.
Only one? That's not bad.
No.
Well, congratulations.
It was clearly a scam because they were one connection on LinkedIn and used a Gmail.
Yeah. I've been getting a lot of those too, and it's not nice. Okay, thank you, TJ. Keep us posted.
I will.
Hi, I guess 2 wins. One is I literally got off the phone with Abby. I can't say her name correctly. Yep. And so she gave me a suggestion about opening in my network of doing the thing for the women's network on Long Island for the bio and medical, bio and chemistry or pharmas and stuff like that. So looking at possibly doing that. I'm very nervous. I'll be speaking with the person who's responsible for the women's network. So anyway, we'll just see how that goes. And I'm really nervous.
Don't be nervous, Kim. I think you'd be great.
Yeah. So we'll see. And then I guess the other one is I had gotten a grant. So I started a course on positive intelligence. And they randomly made me the pod leader with other people who are experienced active coaches, so that I'm trying to take that seriously and work hard every day and being active. That'll be a 7-week course. So it was like a grant for $1,000. So I'm working on that, and hopefully that'll increase my mindset for myself and others and just be better.
So. Absolutely. And that idea about being that pod leader.
Yeah,
As
I think they just randomly did that. And I'm like, but
I
me, I'm not even a real coach.
It
So,
doesn't make any difference. What I was going to say is both for that and for that women's network, those are great things to add both to your resume, to your LinkedIn profile. Okay. They demonstrate additional skills as well as this course that you're taking.
yes, yes.
So where did you get the grant?
One of the coaches from Rochester Works encouraged me to go for this grant and had been through it. She's a true PQ coach, emotional intelligence, all the rest. And she said, Kim, you're just a natural coach. And I really think you should be taking this course and try to apply and see if you get accepted. And then I got accepted. So now I'm working on the program.
Excellent. So I think it's next week. No, end of August, we're going to be doing a roundtable where we're talking about the skills that you're learning, the things you think you want to learn, the idea of where can you find those opportunities, how do you fund them, or can we do them for free? All of that, what's working for you, what you recommend for other people. So that's a great one to share there as well. Congratulations. Vicky.
Hi, I'm Vicky Kristiansky. I have an interview this afternoon. It's a virtual interview with the Society of Actuaries, and a connection helped me to get this interview. And I've applied for jobs at this place in the past and never really got a response. But it took a connection that I happened to have who reached out to me and said, I think you might be a good fit for a particular job here. And so he sent the job over to me, or so I took a look at at what they had, and I found something that I think might be a pretty good fit. It's going to take some persuading though. And I've got this interview coming up this afternoon. And
Congratulations.
hopefully we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Keep us posted.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Al.
Hi, everyone. I had an interview on Monday at the local community college where I've been, much like a lot of people, apply, and I finally got called to come in for an interview. I did talk to, I don't know if the connection helped, but the mayor of also this town is also a faculty member there, and I reached out to him. Not sure if he had any influence, but I was glad to get the interview. One of those panel interviews, you got 6 people who are typing the responses after you answer the question. So there's a pause there where they're all typing away, and so, but it was good.
Good. And so having worked at the community college level, I can tell you that unlike major companies where they may ding you if you apply to too many jobs that are different, community colleges don't care. So
No.
don't limit yourself in terms of the number of jobs that you're applying for. Always a good thing. If you find something useful, keep going. And even for companies, make sure that you're sending in separate information for each job, but that you've got some sort of focus so that they don't say you just want a job, any job. Perfect. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
David.
Okay. Last Friday, I had a telephone interview for an administrative assistant role with this small company called Corben Consultants. What they are is they're a third-party administrator that acts as a middleman between various companies and health insurance policies as far as enrolling patients. So I got that interview. I also went to this one employment agency, and they gave me sort of like a wingman, so to speak. So basically, he would recommend a position that to apply for. I would apply for, and then he would kind of like back me up and recommend me to that company.
Nice. Very good. And how did you find the job that you're talking to them about today?
Well, I don't have any interviews for today, but the Corban Consultants I found out on ZipRecruiter, and the job I applied for yesterday that the wingman's going to back me up on. He suggested these 2 companies. I looked at one company and suggested, and then I emailed him. He asked me to email him my resume. I said, if he just be a good fit for me, he said, sure, go ahead and apply for it. And I applied for it, and I told him I applied for it. So I'm waiting to see what the results of that will be.
Excellent. Okay. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Juliet.
A couple weeks ago, I finally had some interviews. It was for a contract role. through a recruiter that had contacted me. They didn't really do traditional interviews. I was beyond over prepared for all my star questions that I was nervous about. And all they really wanted to know was like, fit. Is this person going to stay? All I could think about was this group because this has come up, I know, in the past, and I'm sure I've forgotten a lot of everyone's advice. One of the advice from everybody here was like, hey, even if it's a contract role, take it while you keep looking.
Exactly.
This contract role they were saying could become permanent. So it had potential.
So they always say that, almost
I
always.
know.
So
And my
that's not
experience
like
personally has been, I've never been hired after a temporary or 1099 or whatever, but that's just me. But I was like, I was going to go on the interview. If anything, it's interview practice, right? So, I was just checking while I was waiting my turn that the job description actually only asked for like 3 to 5 years of experience, you know, which is like silly because apparently, according to the recruiter, there were many applicants and those selected for interviews like myself that were way overqualified, right? And they told me they even not only the recruiter, but the manager of the group who I interviewed with happens to mention to me on my interview about the candidate they met the day before and how that person said they would take this role while they continued to look. Well, clearly that wasn't making the hiring managers comfortable because they're not going to want to invest in somebody who's going to pick up and leave. And I think that they didn't directly ask me that, but they were probably worrying about that based on the kind of conversations I had with them. Fast forward to a couple days ago, I finally got the call with feedback that they said no, and that they said no to all 6 people that they interviewed over the past couple of weeks, and that they're starting again because they would prefer someone at the more junior level, which is what the JD did kind of say to begin with. What do you make of all that?
That whoever was setting up the initial interviews wasn't in good conversation with the hiring manager, or that they were hoping that they could turn it into a full-time position rather than the contract.
I know, but the recruiters, they're the ones meeting with the client. They're the ones pitching the candidates. The client is agreeing because they see all of this experience. They told me on the interview, oh, we have no question, Juliet, that you know how to do this. I was like, yeah, you don't need to train me. I can come in tomorrow and help you, no problem. And when they asked me what you're looking for, and I was like, I'm not looking for your job. I'm not looking to get promoted to director. That's fine. Like, I would like a permanent spot. Sure, that would be great. You know, like I was pretty honest, but like positive. And so I think they were willing to take these candidates to interview. So all I could say to the recruiter in my smiling, thank God she couldn't see my face, you know, conversation was, I hope they find what they're looking for. Like, good luck with that is what I was thinking. But maybe they will find other candidates. But like all I could think of is they had 6 people in a similar situation. It's everybody on this group. It's everybody that's like getting laid off and looking for a role. And that's who is out there job seeking. And if you need help, these are people you should be taking. And you can't be so picky and choosy that you're afraid to take someone who might leave, because that's what the job seeker has to protect. Even though we understand that the employer wants people to stay and they invest in their time, like what a contradiction that is.
It is.
So I felt like a lot of people here on this call are experiencing that. And that was my first rodeo with it of late.
Unfortunately, I'm hearing that a lot.
Yeah.
So part of it is that you're right. I think that the company brought in these people thinking, gee, these are the next best thing to sliced bread. They can do all this work. And then the recruiter or the hiring manager says, wait a minute, they want something that I can't give them. And maybe what they want is my job down the road. You want people, the best managers want somebody who's smarter than they are.
Okay.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have a lot of managers out there who don't have that same philosophy.
Right.
But looking out for yourself, absolutely the right thing, and taking the interview is a good thing.
Yeah. And I was sort of like, good. They didn't want me because I would rather find something better that might come along sooner. And what if I was stuck in the contract role? I'd feel kind of bad leaving too soon if something came up in the next 3 months. But, you know, I wasn't going to not. Yeah.
So never feel bad about leaving a contract role by its definition.
Well, I always worry about like your reputation. Like if you've agreed to something for a limited time or whatever it is, yes, they should understand that that's what I need to do, but I still would feel like that kind of carries
I
with
understand.
your name.
However, when a company hires you for a period of time and then they cut the contract short, or they do a layoff,
That's right.
Difference. What's
the
the
same thing.
difference?
Yeah, you're right. Thank you for saying that. I needed to hear that again.
You're
But that
welcome.
was sort of a quick win. At least I had an interview on the
And I would
negative.
actually go back to the recruiter and thank him and stay on his radar for future
Yeah,
opportunities.
I mean, I can send another note. I did end the call that way. I was like, I hope they find what they're looking for. Who else are you working with? And, can you still keep me in
Exactly.
mind for the next opportunity? And she said
Perfect.
she would. So I definitely
Perfect.
did say,
Excellent. Okay,
Thank
sorry, I
you.
didn't mean to take you off too soon. All right, we're going to end with these last 3 wins, and then we're going to go on to the topic. Jason.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. On LinkedIn on my news feed the other day, I think it was probably last week, I got a pop-up. Somebody was hiring for their team, but they didn't, in clear text form, it didn't say whether or not they were the hiring manager. It just said their team. So I reached out to them, a role that fits my background, and said I'm a great fit. I've at the time I had not applied to the role. I said, would you be interested in either a formal or informal conversation? Um, and basically, I added some more, and the response back from the individual, which was great to receive a response in general, was I actually just submitted you as a referral internally. However, which I appreciated. But this person said that the proper process is, even though I am the hiring manager, and have submitted the referral, that now it's in recruiting's hands. So recruiting now would need to start the interview process. So I have not heard back. It's been probably a week, maybe a little bit less. But I'm crossing fingers that recruiting reaches out. I'm also at the same time trying to figure out, without being too pushy, when is appropriate to reach back out to this individual.
Not to that individual. He's already told you it has to go through the process.
Okay. So don't
Okay.
reach out.
You can comment on the post from the company. You can do those kinds of things. But I don't know, Ken, Sue, Virginia, whether you have different views on that. But if he said this has to go through the process and he's pushed it to recruiting, you have to let the process take its course.
Yeah, makes sense. So that's my win.
I think it's a great win. Antonella, is it? And I can't even read.
Antonita, yes.
Antonita, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I just want to share, I had an interview last week. It was the person contacting me. It was great, and she told me she was excited and told me that she will be scheduling a next call with her colleague or the founder, but I haven't heard back. I immediately sent the thank you note and everything. So I may be giving until today. If not, I will try to contact again to see what happened or what is going on.
So when you do that kind of follow-up, it's not what happened, you told me you were going to get back to me this week and you didn't. Okay. It's, I just wanted to let you know I'm really excited about it. Here's one more thing that I forgot that might help, or another thing about me or about the company that makes it a good fit. I am looking forward to our next conversation.
Okay.
If you're in sales, you know that that's a soft close. I'm assuming it's going to happen.
Okay, thank you for the recommendation.
Sure.
And the other thing is that maybe this could help all the people here. This job search has took me to pathway that I never thought about it, and I have to stretch a lot. And I joined more than 3 months ago, civic community, the professional that they were laid out of for the federal. And they decided to join or get together to develop skills in emerging technology like artificial intelligence and cloud computing to solve community problems. And I participated in the energy and climate cycle to build a prototype. And then I was posting this process on LinkedIn.
Excellent.
And one of the things that stretched me was not only the technical skills, but also I had to do the project pitch to more than 100 people. And that was something that I never thought I was able to do it. And because of that, maybe that was the reason why I have been invited to interviews. And
I think
another one, like 4 months ago, I also applied to a nonprofit organization to do workforce development, teach people how to use AI to look for job and to leverage skills. And well, at the end, I didn't get the position, but they invited me to it's called Family Day at the George Mason University. Also, more than 130 people or parents registered to the conference. And I gave that talk to more than 130 parents talking about how AI can help them with learning, with how to be safe, and those kind of things. I also have been posting that on LinkedIn just for,
perfect.
yeah,
I
so being
agree.
active in volunteering, and those are, everything is more community work or volunteering activities that of course took me time to prepare, to rehearse, but at the same time, at helping me with leveraging and stretching on ways that I never thought or I would never do it if I wouldn't have been out of the job market.
Absolutely. Very good. Congratulations. And do add those things to LinkedIn and talk about them as part of your interview stories.
Thank
Okay, last one.
Hey everybody, my name is Andrew Sanka. I just want a real quick success, I suppose. I finally went ahead and took my Zoom notes and put it through AI, and I've been doing this, wanted to do it for a while. I finally did it, and I kept it simple, and I just identify anybody who's in accounting and finance and include their LinkedIn URL so I could get to know them. I did reach out to some people, and that turned into not one, but two one-on-one sessions. One of them live in person at a coffee shop, which was fun and energizing. The other one was on a Google Meets. And so we were able to kind of compare notes and share with each other our experiences, where we are, and what we can do for each other. And we've already, shared resources with each other and give each other inspiration. So it's a great way to, if you want to use the notes, take a look, run it through AI, say, look for people in my field, and that'll help. The other thing I did, which I thought was kind of fun, I had glanced at it, I noticed all the nuggets. And I said, hey, I want a list of all the nuggets. And so it gave me all like 12 to 15 nuggets and listed them all. And I said, okay, fine. I want to go back to these two and get more in depth on them. So, the ones about using LinkedIn to as a placeholder, like a skill, a job gap, how to fill it in. And also the one about the nugget about getting referrals. So that was helpful to kind of get to re-review those. Two simple things. Look for people in your field, look at all the nuggets. So that's my little success story.
I think that's great. In fact, I run these chats and the transcript of the conversation that we do here through an AI for exactly that reason. So when you see my summary posts, okay, a lot of that comes from what AI is telling me. Here are the things that we talked about most and reminding me.
Are those summary posts on LinkedIn?
Yes, they are.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Let's look for those.
Good. All right. Thank you. Congratulations. By the way, which AI are you using?
In this case, I was using Copilot. I've used different AI for different things. Somehow I was using Copilot for job-related work, and it remembers a little bit. So I was kind of sticking with that. I also have I got a free year's worth of Perplexity, and so I use that for deeper dive research. So it all really depends. In this case, I use Copilot.
Perfect. So if you're one more suggestion for you. If you're pulling up people who are in your field, you can also pull out people who live in your general area.
And that's the other thing too, is that these two people both live very close to each other and close to me. So it was actually kind of hilarious. And I think they know each other as well. And it was an amusing coincidence.
All right. Congratulations. Okay. By the way, remember, here's another reason that what you need to do is you need to be copying the chat, making use of the chat, however it is you want to, in order to get this done so that we know, okay, that you can do it. So I'm going to tell you now, I will copy it into the private group. So if you haven't asked to join the private group yet, please do. I will add you all to the private group at the end of the meeting if you're not already there. We're over 600 people right now in that private group, which is a good thing. And the people in that private group, if you're in the private group, remember, be responsive. If you see another post in there, somebody put something out there, please respond to it so that they get some feedback too, because that's one of the things that this is all about, is providing that networking and support. Sue, would you like to join us on screen to talk about resumes, or you want to do it from the background? Your choice.
Me?
Sue.
No, Sue
Oh,
Griffith. Come on, Sue, come on up.
I don't want to voluntold anybody.
That's fine. I will probably still be in the background learning, but happy to weigh in. Thank you for inviting me, both of you.
Thank you for
all three of you.
Okay, and yes, by the way, guys, I sometimes do volunteer people. Okay, okay, either online or privately. So yes, that'll happen. All right. In fact, I volunteered Abby earlier to come back. She suggested, and I said, absolutely. Okay, we're gonna get that.
Got the joke, got the joke.
Okay, so we'll get there. All right. So now we're moving into the resume section. And before we go into actually doing some resume reviews live, we're gonna do a little bit on this end first, so that if you want a resume review, we're not gonna get to everybody. But if you want your resume reviewed, make sure that you pull it up so that you can share it on screen. Okay, so we're going to give you the opportunity to do that now while we're answering some of this. So what I'd like is just to go around for us right now. What's one thing that you're seeing in resumes that's either a best practice or one of the things that makes you cringe?
So three things make me cringe. Can I say three?
Yes.
My first one is where people have a target or a headline that's so nebulous, nobody can figure out what it is that you're going after. My second one is when there's a disconnect between that target and what you show on LinkedIn. And then my third one is when people list responsibilities and then they list achievements. I would rather, and I could walk people through the framework for how to do this, but I want to see the responsibilities woven in within the context of an achievement.
Absolutely. Or if you need the responsibilities at all, in many cases you don't. You need the achievement. You don't necessarily need the
right. And then I have one more. My last one is that people are writing the same way we were taught to write in high school, which is for a print read. People read this stuff online. LinkedIn happens on mobile. You've got to write for an online audience. And everything you write for online prints out fine. It's just that the reverse is not true.
Absolutely. By the way, one of the things that I forgot to do when we started the meeting today was remind you that we use the chat a lot. Okay, so put your questions in the chat with the word question, if you have one, along with what the question is. If you have ideas, by the way, for future sessions or speakers, and Ken, thank you for one this morning, put that in the chat as well. Okay, along with the word question or idea or topic or speaker, all in caps so that I can find it easily. And if you've got one of those nuggets that we were just talking about, please write the word nugget or highlight, all again in caps, along with what it is you want to say, so that when people are going back through and they're analyzing the chat, or you go back and take a look at the chat, you know what it was all about. Just a, hey, that's great, does no good. Okay, same way that it doesn't do any good just to do a like on LinkedIn. You need to give us the reason so that when you go back and take a look, you understand what it is you are commenting about, what made sense to you, because then it can make sense for somebody else too. Okay, sorry for the interruption.
No worries. So I just saw a question. Should I go ahead and answer it?
Sure.
Okay. The question was, what am I talking about? And I was that was referring to digital writing for the screen. There are two things that we do differently when we read online, and it impacts anything we read. It's an email, a PowerPoint deck, and certainly your resume and what you write on your LinkedIn. Online, we have a very, very hard time digesting crowded or dense text, which is why those online contracts make you want to blow your brains out. It is designed to be hard to read. The second thing that we do differently is that we jump around a lot online. I always joke that we're sort of like squirrels in a way that you don't do that when something's printed out in front of you. So what you do to address those is that number one, you avoid dense or crowded text. You keep your paragraphs to 2 to 3 lines, and then you add space in between every bullet and every paragraph. Recognizing that people jump around, when I am writing a sentence, I front load it, which means I put the most important part of what I'm trying to say at the beginning, because skim readers don't always stick around to the end. Secondly, I'll use some minor design elements to draw the reader where I want them to go. For instance, if I want to highlight, really emphasize my job titles, I might bold those. If I want to do some name dropping, I might bold the company names. Capitals is another way, shading. There's a couple different really small things that you can do to make the eyes direct where you want them to go. And then lastly, if I have a series of bullets and I have to figure out what order to put them in, skim readers start with bullet number 1, but then we don't usually read in order. We read the first thing, then we jump to the bottom, and then the middle stuff might not get read till you have more time. And so I'll put the most important thing I'm trying to convey as bullet number 1, and something sort of secondarily impactful at the bottom.
Yep. And what I would do is, actually, I normally say the first 2 and then the last.
Yeah. So, yeah. But the point is that we jump around quite a bit.
Absolutely.
And use that for your emails as well.
Yep. Perfect. So short, sweet, easy to read.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Ken or Sue, who's next?
Well, I'm just going to say a couple. I'm going to put on my old Leah Harrison hat now because I saw so many challenging resumes. First of all, I don't need to see every Tom, Dick, and Harry skill that you've done. I think there's such forgetting about whether they're soft skills or not. I could get resumes with 35 to 40 skills. Some of them might be ridiculous. Some of them might not be necessary. You want to get their attention and focus on exactly what the job requires. That's a big thing. And then the other thing I get from the people that have been that have 15 years experience, Virginia, you and I have chatted about this. People just leave the stuff off. They don't put it on. If you're going to take out specifics from older jobs, create an accomplishment section or an achievement section at the top and focus on those things too. There is no one right or wrong about these things. A resume can be different lengths within reason. I mean, I've seen 15, 20-page resumes and I get really frustrated at that, but focus on putting yourself in the best light possible. And I'm looking at this as someone who looked at resume after resume. And after a while, it's like most people that haven't looked for a job and all don't really know what to do. So you want to be respectful and cordial, but you want to let them know that it's about a first impression. I love the idea about from a digital audience. I mean, if I'm looking at a resume on a phone, it's going to be a lot different than looking at it on a laptop too.
Yep. Very much so.
I saw the question about keywords being relevant. If I'm writing for a C-suite or an SVP, I don't include a keyword section, but below that, I often will. And what I recommend now is go to 3 AI sites, ask what are the top 10 LinkedIn indexed keywords for this role, collate them, create your top 10, and then I'll include those as my skills.
Okay. I'm going to add one caveat to that, because often when you're doing that, every job description is going to include things like leadership, communication, interpersonal, team player. Those aren't skills that I'm going to be searching for. So when you're thinking about those skills, think about them as Boolean search terms. If I've got all of these things to take a look at, what terms am I going to use in my search string to narrow down my field to those that are most relevant?
That's right. And my prompt in AI is take away soft skills.
Yep.
For that reason.
Perfect. Excellent. Sue.
Okay, well, you'd think Virginia and I coordinated this, because my cringe is cramped 1/4 inch margins and tiny font and trying to fit too much because no matter what recruiter you ask, they all skim differently. But actually, what I was going to say before my best practice is, it sounds like, Linda, maybe I can do a topic on scannability and readability, because there's a lot of cognitive science, not to bore people at lunchtime, but it's important to understand. We open a screen, our eyes go to the top left. On the left margin, I've been saying this for 3 years, the left margin's your best friend. Start with the outcome. I know star stories, but I have OATs. Outcomes, achievements, tactics, situation. No one wants to hear 5 minutes on the situation, how bad it was, and then finally, you know, that you saved 180% of the company. My best practice came from LinkedIn 2 years ago or so when they added skills. I added to the resume template that I use in my course, under each job, on the left margin, little italics, top skills bolded, 3 skills for each job. And that way you don't have to worry about where you've woven in the exact wording if you need to make sure that you want to be identified. Choose it or not as a best practice, but I know that it gets people's attention, because Virginia just told you, skim the first bullet, then you go to the bottom. We skim sort of chunks of text going in the F, oftentimes the F pattern, F as in flag. Okay, thank you for that. And this is so exciting to hear all of this.
Sue, so what are your thoughts on, I've always written it with 2 audiences in mind, the recruiter or the screener who does F pattern, but then hiring managers often will do, I guess, T or H.
You know what? No matter what you do, when you have a screen, because it's widescreen now, not the print that we used to get off a printer, our eyes only catch half of the left-hand side. Just test yourself on it. And I do this in the course, and I do it with every review meeting I hold. I tell them, look at that, trying to look at the screen. So that's my recommendation. Put your outcome first, because you know what, Virginia, Ken, Linda, we all know this. Bottom line up front, I learned that from someone who wrote a military article 30 years ago now. And it's, you don't want to say bluff. My financial person wouldn't let me use this in what I was working on at the NGO, but tell people the surprise. It's like telling people a takeaway at the beginning of a presentation so they know where you're going, and it gets their attention. You know, imagine saying, Virginia, Virginia, I'm the person who was able to contribute more than 80% efficiency in a downtime year, or whatever, you know, is that way. And then they get excited, then they want to listen to you. They're not bored.
Right.
Don't make, it's just like journalism, you don't bury the lead.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And actually, you know, we all talk about star stories, car stories, OATs, whatever it is. And I'm coming up with my own acronym as well, because I don't like any of them. I talk about it as START stories, but still that's not what I'm talking about right now. Is that if I'm reading a resume and I'm putting on that hat, all I really want to see is resume. What was the outcome?
Yeah, the arc.
You can tell exactly. I want the result.
Yeah.
Okay. You can tell me the rest of it in the story. And that's what you want to do. You want to intrigue me enough so that I want to ask, how did that happen? What was the situation? If you're spilling it all out there and you haven't made it transferable to me, you haven't put it in that combination of specific but generic, right? The specific outcome but generic situation so that I can see it for me, I may bypass it. The result counts, but it's always based on what you can do for me based on what you did for somebody else. So lead with the result. Absolutely. Okay. I'm one of those people in terms of resumes. When I read them, both as a coach and a recruiter, honestly, I don't like seeing the breakout of these are my leadership skills, these are this, okay, and this is that underneath each job. It almost looks like you're going back to that functional formatting that a lot of hiring managers don't like. But it's a different way of doing it. So you get to choose which way works best for you. I want you to highlight those skills, show me how you lead, but my view, and again, you're going to hear different things from different people. And that's one of the reasons that I like this group, is that you're going to hear all those different opinions, and all those different opinions are absolutely right. You just have to pick and choose what works best for you. Okay. So we've got that. I absolutely second everything everybody has said. In terms of the margins, think about what really works. I'm a big proponent of white space rather than running everything together. So for example, if you're including that skills section up at the top, and I often say it goes underneath the accomplishments depending upon the level, it's, you reverse them. I like a skills section. I like an accomplishment section. Sometimes I'll lead with one, sometimes I'll lead with the other, depending upon the level of the role. And you're right, Virginia, for C-level, the skills don't belong there. The accomplishments do. But I don't want them just listed across the page. I want white space between them to make it easy for me. Right? You're writing not just for the ATS, which wants all those keywords. Your ultimate goal is to write for me, for the human eye, and the human eye likes to make it easy to read. Okay. All right. So now we can get to some questions, and everybody who's got, if you want to have your resume reviewed, okay, then we're going to get some of those done. Are there more questions out there that we can answer that were in the chat? Because I'm not monitoring that. I apologize.
Been monitoring it.
I just, there were a lot of questions about OATs and outcomes and the template. I'll put it all in the private group so it's accessible to anybody. If you're okay, Linda, that I share the recording and the link to the Google Slides.
Please do. Okay. And by the way, Sue, we are taking you up on your offer.
Okay, great. Happy to talk about scannability and readability.
Perfect. Perfect. Tell me when. We'll get it set up.
Perfect.
Okay. I like this. Now, this time I'm being voluntold, and I like that too. It works both ways. All right. So if we have no more specific questions in the chat, if you want to have a resume reviewed, and we are not, and I'm telling you now, we're not going to get a chance to do all of them. But if you want to, then please raise your digital hand. Make sure you have your resume available. Here's the way this is going to work. When you put your resume up on screen, and this is not for us, this is for YouTube, who will kick the video out as against community standards, if we can see your name and contact information. So slide it up on the screen so that you start underneath that. Okay. And don't ask me how I know that, but they've denied a couple of the videos and canceled them because of that. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So Jason, I'm sorry. Okay. Richard, you're first. So
Okay,
we're all going to go off screen while you, okay, you share your resume.
share.
Okay. So share screen. There you go. And then ask us one question about the resume. Can you make it larger?
Like that?
Yep. Okay.
Just, I've been applying for quite a few jobs and I'm not even getting contacted, and I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with my resume.
Are you customizing it each time?
Yes.
So what do you customize?
Usually I'll customize the skill area. I will go through, I'll run the job description through AI to identify the key skills for it, and then I will integrate it with my key skills section.
Okay. Virginia.
Okay.
Susan?
Should I get started?
Yep.
Okay. So your that summary at the top is I don't see anything in there that is that different from how other people would describe themselves. A lot of people have 10 years of experience. You've listed some adjectives in there. What I would like to see are a couple of nuggets of detail in there that are specific to your career. So for instance, if you are targeting work in I don't know, in startups, maybe that might be a unique detail. If you work for a big name, drop that. When you ask AI to write a sentence, they're going to write this out, which is frustrating. But customer success leader with 10 years, that's not a differentiator. So think about things that might be. With the key skills, I don't think you need that many.
You don't.
again, I would go try to figure out what the top 10 are. With your experience, what I love is that I could see that you spaced your bullets, which makes it super easy. I just outlined a framework in the comments, but think about when you joined Modi, what were you brought on to do? Then your second question is, what did things look like at the end? Were you able to solve for what they brought you in for? Number three, what was your role? What did you do to get things from that beginning to end state? And then why did it matter? And so if these bullets are explaining that, that's great. But what I am not seeing is, I don't see, I guess, the context. What's the bigger picture here? Why did they need a customer success manager? I imagine it was for, to grow their accounts, retain it. So maybe you could show the before and after. You said you onboarded 20 new clients, but is that half of all their clients? Is it 5%? That sort of bigger picture context helps a great deal in terms of helping people see the story and remember it.
Okay.
So the idea is the differentiators. Right, that professional summary, excuse me, up top. I like to think about it. I don't need to know that you've got 10 years of experience. I can see that by looking.
Okay.
Okay. What is it that are you bringing to this job that nobody else can? So that's 2 to 4, 5 lines max of what you bring to this job, not to any job, but to this job. So it really has to be based on that. My view of skills is that you can go up to 20, but running them all together like that, I can't read them and I'm going to stop.
Okay.
I like seeing them 3 across, maybe 4 across max. The white space helps direct my eye.
Okay.
Sorry.
Can you scroll down, Richard, so I can see some of the earlier roles? Okay. So it looks like your most 3 recent jobs were pretty short in duration. Was that because they were contract roles, or was that because of layoffs and things like that?
This one for Scripps was a contract, and so was the one for Modi.
Okay. To mitigate the concern that you are a job hopper or that you were laid off, I don't know if it says contract, but one thing you could do is you could list it as a contract role, or you can sort of merge them together and say customer success manager contract roles, and then you can list each experience as bullets. So you can have, here are the highlights from Modi, here are the highlights from the other one. And so that grouping shows it makes the reader think that you are or know that you are someone that stays in the roles for a long time or has done this for a good bit.
Okay.
I mean, I put a couple of comments in as well. If you can just scroll up to the top.
Sure.
As Virginia said, I'm looking at the customer success leader, yada, yada, yada. I mean, again, adept at, experienced in, so I don't want to say so what, but if you drove retention, this, and this, what was the result of that? If you guided customers through this, what was the result of that? If you steered this and this, can you mention specific projects? Can you quantify what the results are? And it's not going to lend itself in a paragraph like that, but it's just so, again, and I'm going to put on my Leah Harrison hat here and say, when you said experienced in this, and this, if you weren't experienced, would I really hire you? I mean, it's kind of assumed that you'd be experienced at it, I would think. I want to know what you do, and even from the skills. I mean, I don't even know what technical troubleshooting really means. I mean, I know what you think it means. I don't know what executive communication means. I know what you think it means. I mean, less is better sometimes. I mean, some of these things, if you want to put them on your LinkedIn profile, um, look at it this way, and I'm going to ask you, Linda, you're looking at this as a recruiter. What does that say to you that makes this person different than anyone else if you didn't even know who the person was. And I really don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm just asking ask.
No, I will tell you that there isn't much there. So when I say that this should be the label for the job posting that it is, or the job that it is, so that it tells me that you've really thought about it, whatever their term is. But one of the things that I'm missing, you've got all those key skills there, but those are your generic. This is anything you want me to do, I can do. And basically, when you're pulling out those soft skills, you're telling me that you ran it through an AI and you're just listing everything that's there. That's not what I'm looking for. I want to know the 10 to 20 max. I normally go 18 max of the things that are most important. That's going to be the distinguishing feature for you for this job that nobody else has.
And even for remote, can you speak to the size of your teams? Can you speak to
Yep.
specifics about
Yep.
because remote could be, maybe you work with 30 international teams and 100 people. I don't know.
Exactly.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying
Right.
that's remote it means you work remotely, but tell me about the teams. Tell me how you maybe coordinated with them, whether you had meetings or sessions or whatever it is. I mean, unified cross-department stakeholders by converting modernization goals into actionable, transformable roadmaps means absolutely nothing to me.
And not only that, that sounds like it's a job description.
No, I'm agreeing, and I'm saying this just
Yeah.
So, Richard, what is it? Is there something that you are brought in to do time and time again? Like, are you the go-to for a certain type of environment?
Yes.
What's that?
Basically, customer retention and building relationships with customers in the parking industry.
Okay, so if you are targeting roles in the parking industry, then the other, you said SaaS, enterprise, education, healthcare, then that isn't relevant. You want to hone in on the parking. And so I don't know, are these newer companies? Were they startups? Were they companies that were really struggling with loss? They were at risk for losing a lot of clients.
Yes, they were.
And so if that's the case, then those are pain points that a company is feeling. And so you can say the company had faced, I don't know, 30% losses in this time, and within 6 months I recouped half of them. Those are the sorts of things that you should be thinking of. So what you do is you say, this is what I'm known for. And you write that out. And then in your bullets, you are backing that up with data and context.
And
Okay.
even 20% lift. What is 20%? 20% could be from 8 to 10. It could be
Right.
from 800 to 1,000.
Right.
I mean, I'm asking this question as someone, you may be the most qualified person in the world, but the more detail, the better.
Yeah, the
20,
context matters a lot with the story, and it helps people to remember what you
I
did.
mean, 20 new clients. Maybe they had 5 before, now they have 25. I don't know. I mean,
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And 20 new could mean, gee, that's a drop in the bucket if their total client base is over 1,000.
right.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand.
If you're the parking guy, then scream that in the branding. I don't know if these are startups, if these are really well known, if your work helped the company to go from a newbie to a contender, whatever it is, that's what companies are struggling to do, and they're going to recognize that you are equipped to sort of solve their pain point.
Right.
Okay.
So it should all be about this job, not everything you've ever done.
Mhm.
And you have to look at it from somebody who's never looked at this before.
No, I appreciate it.
Okay, perfect. And great review, but I'd like to be able to get to some others too. So there we go. Carl, you're next in my list.
Excellent. Thank you. Are you able to see now?
Yep.
We are now.
We need it larger. Larger.
Okay. Does that work?
Yes.
Yes.
That's better.
Great.
Okay, so you're a president. You do not need expertise section. Take that off. It'll save you a ton of time.
Can I ask for a clarification on that? Because
Sure.
I was told actually that was necessary still, but maybe the distinction for that?
When someone's a senior executive, I don't put them on there because I'd rather use the space and weave in those words in other places.
So you can do it. One is to completely take it off for executive level. Second is you lead with your accomplishments section. If you want to include that expertise include it afterwards, the separate section. But it does not need, it should not be the first thing I see.
You've got some really good numbers there at the top, which I like in the summary section, but it's a big fat paragraph, so it's hard to read. Because it's important to show the number of employees and the revenue that you're dealing with P&L, what you could do to sort of remove some thickness from that section is say global president or global business president, and then you can have a colon or what do you call it, up or down bar, and then you can say P&L up to 100 million, 500 plus employees, and have that all on one line. So then you know that takes out a couple of sentences, couple of lines. Are you targeting? You're targeting high tech and aerospace. What is there an industry that you want to niche down into?
Well, my background has been in aerospace, defense, and automotive, and that's why I listed those as leading sectors.
Okay.
I'd be open to other opportunities, but that's yeah.
Okay, so you can customize the resume by saying instead of global business president, you can say aerospace, you know, you can put aerospace in the headline. If you wanted it to be, if you want to target all three, which I don't recommend for the resume, but you could have an industry section and then just boom, 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 list it. The goal is to try to make that paragraph at the top as short as possible. Think of it like that, the first couple of lines in a news article. You read them really quickly and it tells you what the story is going to be about and what you want to come back to when you have more time. Your accomplishment section, I like some of those. I don't like to do 5. I like to have 3 just because when people start seeing more than 3 in that top section, I think people like to see 3 at the top, and longer than that, you run the risk that they're not going to look at it. Can you scroll down to the professional experience a little bit more? Okay. If you left in August of 2025, I would just have a brief sentence at the top saying why you left. If if it was a downsize or exited because of new CEO, whatever it is.
Is that only for the most recent job experience?
Yeah. Because it was short and because you're not working. Yeah. I would. One thing you can do, and you'll have space for this, is use abbreviations for your months. That way they're shorter, justify them to the right. And I would include what your team size, what your P&L is, or your company size and P&L size in every single role, because at your level, that is what's important. Again, they want to see the scope. What were you, sort of same question I was asking before, what is it that you're known for, or what were you brought in to do with Missouri Metals? Was it to fix a hot mess, get more market share? Whatever the answer is to that, that's what you need to present and show how you got to that, help to achieve that goal.
Okay, the situation with Missouri Metals is more of a turnaround, so therefore in the second one talked about transformed underperforming division, but okay,
so that's buried. I didn't even see it, so I would make that bullet number 1. How much was it, if you can quantify how much was it underperforming? Had it been flat for 3 years?
I guess one question on that is, these are this is a family held company, and in fact even the next one, it's a division, and at the publicly traded company, that's number 2 there, they don't report the division level details at all, right? And so if I put that in my resume, it starts to starting to reveal things that could, is not public information in terms of those kind of metrics.
So I definitely would not include that on LinkedIn, but you don't need to say, lost $300,000. You can say lost 20% or flat for 3 years. That's not,
Right.
that's showing what you did without giving away anything that could get you in trouble.
Okay.
But make transforming your underperforming division bullet number 1, because that's the headline. And then we said align production priorities with critical customer needs. What I would want to know is what problem was that causing? And once I know that, then you say, this was the result, and this is the problem it solved. And this is how I did it. And so structure the bullet that way. So you're sort of leaving the result and showing the context. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
I put a comment in, it's just a generic comment when it comes to acronyms. Don't assume that every company knows what every acronym stands for. Now, within a specific industry, that may be the case. But just as a best practice, like I don't know what a TAM assessment is, and maybe that's something which people in your industry do know. I don't know. Same with like CAPEX is lowercase. Again, I'm just nitpicking. I am just looking at things like that. And at the top, I would probably just simplify the section again. I mean, this is a great resume, and this is just kind of like nitpicking stuff.
Right.
The same with quantifying the percentages. Was it 10% lower after a year, after a month, after 5 years? Again, I don't know. I don't even know if it's that important so much, but I'm just, calling it out.
All right. One more.
And like,
I'm sorry.
Like the safety targets, were you guys getting in trouble with audits? Were you falling short? That's the sort of stuff that if you went from failing to exceeding, that means a lot more than just exceeded.
Correct. So always try and include numbers if you can, percentages if you can. Otherwise, if you have to guesstimate as close as you can. One of the things though that I would recommend, Carl, and again, very nitpicky, you've got lots of industry experience across several different kinds of industry. If this happens to be the same way we were talking earlier about the parking industry, if this happens to be an aerospace job, you want to say up at the top that you are the aerospace person. Not that you have experience in all of these other things as well. They want to know what you can do for them. And the more specifically you can tell them what you can do for them, the better off you are.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
One thing I found is a lot of times GM and president sort of have a playbook that they go in and it's rinse and repeat. And when I uncover that, I often will write the bullets in that format, so that people can see time and time again that, it was like, let's say someone goes in and says it's all about people, process, and technology. Then I will say, this is what I did on the people side. This is what I did on the process side. This is what I did on the tech side, and over again, because that shows that you can jump in and solve the problem right away.
Okay. Thank you. I guess the two specific questions I had, I think maybe you answered it already. Going up to the top, do you do find value in including specific quantified impact?
Get your contact information off the screen.
Yeah, with what you're targeting.
Got it. Sorry. So you do find value and you do recommend to have some quantified impacts in that leading paragraph, but still make it shorter versus.
You could say global some executive who led multi-site and get rid of the extensive multifunctional leadership background.
Right.
I mean, again.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Virginia.
I would say presidents and CEOs, they want to know, you've got to include revenues and P&L and size of the company. Those are the two biggies that people want to see.
All right,
and if
very
it's
good.
Longer than 4 lines, Carl, I'm going to stop reading.
It's words like proven record of. I mean, these are like trusted partner too. And it's like.
Yeah, so you could say deliver consecutive record-setting revenue, profit, and margin expansion. You don't need to say proven record. There's lots of ways that you can shorten this. Again, I would make the P&L and the employees, put that up at the top so someone could see it next to the headline, for instance.
Okay. The second question, I did also receive it suggestion that you have to have two resume versions for any particular application. I'm talking about tailoring, but I'm just talking about one that is human readable and maybe has some underlines and as well these kind of little maybe markers or whatever, and then one version to upload into their online application system, because sometimes these kind of graphics or whatever, these little bullets, these kind of things can cause the ATS a problem in correctly parsing. Do you find that with today's generation typically of systems like that to be necessary?
A lot of that advice is sort of outdated. There's 300 different systems, and so back when you never knew what you were dealing with. I don't see anything in yours that I think would be harmful. If it can read a little triangle, it doesn't matter. What it needs to be able to read is the headline, the company name, and the date, and it can. I don't create two different resumes anymore. I did that 15 years ago.
Okay.
The only person that I would create a second resume for, suggest it, is somebody who's heavily graphics related. Okay, they want one that shows what they do, but for the rest of you, absolutely not. The one thing that I would say in terms of readability from a machine is make sure that you are not putting your contact information in a header. Unfortunately, that still works with some machines are still saying, if it's in a header, I can't read it.
If it's in Microsoft Word, yeah.
Okay. And even sometimes in a PDF we found, you're always safe not putting it in a header. There's no reason to put it in a header.
And if you found,
we found that what happens is, Carl, that great resume, I have no idea who you are when I'm printing out the resume or when I'm forwarding the resume.
Got it. And I guess the upload of a PDF version versus a Word doc, I did receive some recent suggestion that Word docs are typically easier to digest and parse correctly versus a PDF. Have you any distinction there?
You can do it either way, but based on all of the information that I have, the reason that I like it in Word is that when somebody forwards your resume to a hiring manager, it is easier for the hiring manager to read and save if they choose to in a Word rather than a PDF.
Okay.
It's not the easier. Most hiring managers are used to dealing with Word rather than PDF. Easy for them to find. But it can be either way.
Thank you.
But if you're emailing it to someone, email the PDF, because that way if they open it up on their phone, the formatting doesn't get skewed.
Correct.
I don't know. I can't see the rest of this resume, but when someone's at your level, I'm okay going into a third page. I just make sure that the last 15 years are on the first 2 pages.
What I've done for that, I do have it 2 pages still, but I do have an additional related experience section here with no years and just basically titles.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
And only include the ones that are relevant. And if something's super duper relevant, you might have room to include a little bit as to why, and then you can reference it as a bullet in the accomplishment section at the top.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go next.
Wait, I just saw you have your MBA from MIT. That's a differentiator and it stands out. Maybe you can work that in somewhere.
Besides just in the education section?
I have to know more of your story, but when someone has a big name dropping school like that, and I will have the title, the headline, and then I might say MIT MBA, turnarounds and transformations, and then I'll have something else that's sort of, and then maybe I'll have the P&L and the employee figure there. That way, those are sort of some sub headlines that pop.
Okay, thank you.
Here we go. Next.
I think that's me.
It is.
Well, let me share my resume. I have a very similar issue to what Carol had because I have a lot of experience.
Okay.
Can you see? Can you see my screen?
Can you make it larger?
Yes, I can. How large?
Larger.
Larger. I can make it as large as you want. I have to make the screen wider so we can see it.
Yeah, if you can make the screen wider so that we can see it.
Yep, that's what I'm doing. You want it bigger than that?
No, that works.
Okay.
You can, to create space in between your bullets down in your experience, you don't need to indent, left justify everything. indenting is for print reads, and then that will probably give you some room to add space in between your bullets because your bullets will be shorter.
Okay.
With your experience at the top, sort of the summary section, I like that you broke it down into 3 things that are a little bit easier to read, but 3 lines is a lot for each bullet. I know there's a way to shorten that.
Yeah.
Consider running it into ChatGPT and say, get this into, 3 lines or 2 lines for each section. I like the content that's here. I don't know what you all, I'd love to hear some other details or other feedback. But you've got some things that are definitely unique. You show what problems you solve.
Virginia,
As
can I? Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I really like the top section. The problem is I have a problem with things like known for. If you're known for this, then just tell me what you do. Who has transformed 3 engineering, or, just give people the stuff. Don't be so vague about it.
Right.
Don't tell me that you like deep technical fluency. Again, I'm with Linda on this, or Ken, whoever asked about acronyms. I don't always know, maybe it's acceptable. But if I see deep technical fluency, I want to know, well, what does that mean? Not that the people won't know it, but does deep mean you are the expert that's called on? Known to be bridging design and engineering by being the connector from users to the programmers, or whatever it is. Just something that helps people see what deep technical fluency might be. If you still want to use that phrase, put some adjectives and adverbs and even nouns after that.
Yeah, this is
I'm
where we're
going back
trying to get in the
grammar.
fact that I actually am a head of design, and I've been doing design for decades, but I actually have a bachelor's and a master's in computer science.
Oh, wow.
So that's
if
where
the
we're trying to
tech-
pull that
For
in.
the translator.
If the tech is relevant to your role in specific tech, I know you've mentioned Figma, but if there's other stuff that keeps coming up in job postings, one thing I do this with super techie roles and sometimes with design roles, is I will have, instead of an area of expertise section, I'll call it like a knowledge snapshot, where I'll say, here are the top 10 skills. Here are the software that I use. Here are the methodologies I use, depending on the role. But that allows you, it removes some room from the top, but it allows the reader then to have a quick snapshot of, these are the things that I use to do my job day in and day out.
Yep. Okay. I agree. Make sure that it is listed as the title of the job that you're looking at, so that it's not generic.
At the top, you mean this head of design?
Yep. Is that what the title is of the job that you're applying to?
That's often. It's head of design or design lead or
you want to
VP
use
of
the specific
design.
title.
I'm
And
sorry?
the reason you're doing it from the specific title.
Yeah, customize it based on the opportunity. That's that's low-hanging fruit, so easy for you to customize.
All of it. Okay. I want to know that you want this job, that you've read what this job is all about, that you're willing to do this job. And the more you make it generic, I can do everything, or here's my standardized title. It's like those acronyms. If it doesn't work for me, it doesn't work for me.
So would you mind, do you think that, I mean, I could certainly change the title, which they're basically, like I said, design lead, head of design, VP of design, senior director of design, they're roughly the same thing. And if I just change the title and left the rest of it, is that okay?
It depends on the job posting. What I do is I write a resume for like 5 job postings, and that makes it 95% ready to roll. And then you have to use minor customization.
Yeah. You don't have to customize all of it.
Yeah.
But that whole top section needs to be customized for the job.
Linda and Virginia, I remember a year ago, I learned from someone on LinkedIn, I don't remember who, that we should not only put the job title right underneath our heading information, but actually with a comma and then the org name. It should be the exact thing you're applying for, because that way it's a subliminal signal to the company. Oh, this person is not just using, a whatever resume for everything. So head of design, comma, Acme organization, just little things like that. I have that in my resume template. It, to me, makes sense. It's what I call a credibility cue, where you're signaling to the person, I know that I want to work for you because I've put that in there. So I don't know, Virginia, what you're seeing and what you do.
No, I agree with that. The one thing that I've noticed, which will be an easy way to trim some fat from this section, is it's clear you are a startup person. So you don't need to reiterate that throughout. You've said foundational hire, 0 to high growth. You've said startup. So you can just say VP of design, 0 to 1 startups. And that says it all. You don't need to keep reiterating. I mentioned how you can list your tech elsewhere. You can include the AI that you use in that section. You can list the industries in a different section if you're trying to sort of, you said fintech, financial services. Actually, those are sort of, a lot of those are the same. So you can maybe weave that into the headline. And that will, I think those things will help to get that top section much shorter.
Okay.
The other thing that
Okay.
I do, and again, I'm being picky, that areas of expertise section, I like the way you've got them spaced out. What I don't like are the bullets in front of those terms in the middle of the page. And I don't know about you, Virginia, but I have found some ATS systems who will say this is a table and they won't read some of it. They'll read the first what's on the left and not the rest.
That's true. Yeah, it does look like it's a table. And it can read
It
it
is.
wonky. Yeah.
It is a table.
So take it out of the table, keep the
Okay.
words, but just
just
tab
list
them
them.
across so that they still line
Yeah.
up the same way.
With like a bar in between each one.
You know,
Oh, so I'm sorry. I want to
Oh.
make sure I understand. Take it out of the table and just make it
That's what I would do
columns
with-
like this?
No, you don't want the columns. What you want
Oh,
is,
okay.
okay, so you're tabbing it across. So it's still the same, it will look the same, okay, without those bullets in between and without the table, you're substituting tabs for the columns.
So
the machine can read it.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry to be dense. So I'll
No.
replace like this, the spacing between here and here with a tab and a vertical bar, or
Right.
just
Except the 3 columns. Yeah.
Stop. I'm sorry. For me, no vertical bar. The vertical bars, from a human standpoint, especially if I'm looking at it on my phone, are distracting.
So, but the bullets make it easy for you to scan each item. And I'm not saying, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just trying to understand. And so if I take out the bullets and just make it text that's tabbed, it's harder to read them as separate items.
No, it's not.
It's not if there's space in between each. Are you talking about the vertical line below areas of expertise and professional experience?
No.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in the expertise section itself, areas of expertise. I want that tabbed across without the bullets in between.
Okay.
Use the white space as the way of breaking them apart.
Okay. I understand.
You can add the bullet
okay.
as part of your text and then tab each section and then have them all line up.
Bullets as
but why?
So that you have the bullet so it catches your eye, but then you still don't have it locked into a table, which it won't read.
You can do it either way. My preference, and everybody is, again, different. My preference is without the bullets in the middle of the page.
Fair enough.
I'm also not sure that these are the top 10 related to your role.
Yeah,
I agree. FinTech and financial services, you've already said that. UX is certainly one. AI forward design workflows, that's probably not. So think about the words that someone's going to be typing in to search for someone like you. With your experience, again, it looks like your most recent role was pretty short, and so
yeah, do I put so I actually don't have months on these part. This was like 6 months and it wasn't contract, it was a bad situation. So I could put April 2025 till November 2025. I mean, I could put, I don't have months on any of these. Does it matter?
I don't use months because most of my clients sort of bypass applying online. I put months on LinkedIn because LinkedIn wants them. But with a short job like that, I would try to think through a way to say why you left without throwing anyone under the bus. And I don't know your specific situation, so we'd have to workshop that. But it's a question someone's going to ask, so you need to be ready to sort of to answer that.
Oh yeah, I have. I mean, this is there, these three were actually relatively short, and they were two offshores and one outsource. So I have good answers, so that's not a problem. And then the last one before that was 8 years, so that wasn't a problem.
If your role ended because things were outsourced, especially your more current one, list that.
Oh, so I should specifically mention it?
Just something so that nobody thinks, you screamed your way out of there.
Okay. All right. But yeah, mostly I mean, this is the only shorter one was a contract. And then I have, and then I have like 12 years at Oracle. So, and I wouldn't have gone back to 1994, but it's really important to list the 12 years at Oracle. And I do not have my first 10 years of my career here because I'm older.
So Oracle's a big name.
Yeah, that's why I need to improve
into it. And so is Genentech. So you're working with some of the biggies of the biggies. If that's what you want to, if those are the kinds of roles you want to target. Now, Oracle wasn't a startup, so we wouldn't call it, but those are things you can name drop in the summary section at the top. I would create an additional experience section where you list Genentech, Inuit, and Oracle. You don't need as many bullets for stuff that happened that long ago, but you can have a sentence that said, this is what I did for Oracle. This is the high level thing that I was proud of for each one. Remove the dates from it for the human to see.
Yeah, I did that. I had these three condensed at one point, and this is where, it's like how many, if you ask 10 people what you should do with your resume, you'll get 15 different answers. And so I actually extended them out because people were saying, wow, you've got some good names here. You really need to pull that out. So I don't know what to do there.
Yeah, you could create, so you could have an accomplishment sections where you say, you list, Genentech, Inuit, Oracle, whatever. I'm always concerned because I'm old that I want to make you timeless, so nobody knows you're 45 or 85.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how to do that. Like I've taken the dates off my education because although some applications require you put the dates in, so I have to tell them I got my bachelor's degree in 1983.
Right, and that's a different that information goes somewhere else in the HR world. What I do, and I'd love to hear from Linda and Sue and Kim if they have other thoughts, but when it's prior to 15 years, I create an additional experience section. I only include the roles that are relevant. If you scooped ice cream at Baskin Robbins, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, these are all relevant.
Yeah,
that's
so
the
these
thing.
are big names, good titles. If there is a nugget of information, a quick sentence that says why this is relevant. Sometimes it's a skill you learn, sometimes it is a big win. List that, 2 lines to do that. That will show the reader that you got give you a sense for what you did back when. And then if it's super relevant, list up at the top that you worked with these companies. You can make them you could add a second bullet in your accomplishments section at the top, and that'll save you space and make room for more stuff at page 1.
And I heard that you said something to Carol about the MIT MBA, and I've been given some feedback that I should highlight Stanford Masters.
And if technology is really relevant to the role, by saying you have a tech degree from Stanford, then that is something worth.
It is relevant. So yeah. Okay.
So I just want to say, Marilyn, you're one of the first I've seen who's I think you had down at the bottom presentations.
Yeah.
And I talk about that as intellectual property. Yeah, it's good because it shows that you're conveying things, especially because you've done it at conferences. So if again, as Virginia was talking about, weaving in Stanford, but again, think about what it is that you're transferring skills in, and in a conference, you're making sure you're disseminating best practices and things. So you might talk about across three of the, what are the biggest, not the FANG companies, but the
Whatever they
large
call FANG now,
companies
yeah.
from this to this, included discussions at international conferences on X and Y. So again, you're setting out your expertise way up top and not
So,
waiting until
okay,
the
so
end.
including something about presenting like that, at worldwide conferences
Yeah, just
at the
something.
beginning.
It looks like
Okay.
UX is the big commonality. Talk about,
Yeah.
presenting women in technology user experience work way back from decades ago, or something
Yeah.
that calls into mind, oh, this woman's been here for a while.
Yeah. Okay.
When I think about the role that you're targeting, some things that stand out that are different in terms of what you offer. Number one, you're the startup person, so that's a high level point. That you're a thought leader. You speak at all these places on that very topic, and then there's probably a third. I just have to go through your experience to call it out. But those things in a summary section are more impactful than sort of reiterating some of the themes that you did over and over again in the top.
Okay. All right.
What a cool
This has been
background.
great. Great. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate the input.
You're welcome. Okay, we are at our time frame. I can stay a little longer. I don't know about anybody else.
I can stay for another 10, 15 minutes.
All right, so let's do one more. For those of you that we didn't get to, I'm terribly sorry, and okay. Let's see how quickly we can do one more, and then we'll go from there. The rest of you, I apologize. We haven't forgotten you. Put in the chat that you still want something, and we'll see whether we can't get something at a later date. Victor.
I have the Word version up because I have a question later, but
okay.
we'll start with this. And I took out all the identifying information, so we can scroll top to bottom without a problem.
Perfect.
Are you targeting a role with the federal government or with a defense contractor or anything like that?
That is where I have most of my experience, but technical editing can be anywhere, so it doesn't have to be.
The reason I ask is when you're targeting that, then the clearance matters.
Right.
The name dropping of the DoD certainly matters. But if you are going outside the federal government, the clearance doesn't matter. So think about what you're targeting, and then you sort of reverse engineer what you write from there. The fact that you, as a technical editor, you're involved in procurement, cybersecurity, and systems engineering, that those are skills that I don't think of when I think of a technical editor. So I would focus on the parts that you do that are relevant to that. I get what you were doing by saying that you saved $7 million for the Brilliant Eyes program, but I don't understand. I'm not sure I understand how your role as a technical editor led to that. I don't think of it as a technical editor as focused on savings. So,
yep.
If it's relevant to the role, include it. If not, remove it. Your skills section, there's a lot of descriptors in there. Descriptors are things that anyone uses to describe themselves. So you don't need to say excellent, excellent written, strong attention to detail. Many of these skills are soft skills, and so I would want to remove those.
The reason I have that, some of that is direct wording coming from the job description.
Yeah,
and they will be.
That's why I do that.
We understand that, but here's the deal. It's not one of those terms that I'm going to be searching on. We know that that's like saying I'm going to include everything from the job description just because it's there. Think about those as the things that are most relevant to you for the job. The soft skills don't belong there.
Right. So what I would do with this, one thing that comes to mind with your skills, and I've done this for editors before, is I will again have that sort of knowledge snapshot where I list the skills, which are, editing, blah, blah, blah. Now I can't think of them, but there's a handful of things that are just specific to
Editing,
technical.
proofreading, formatting.
Exactly. Thank you. And then you can say style guides, and then you can say Chicago Manual, AP. And so that's breaking down the stuff in a way that helps the reader that's looking for those requirements. Strong collaboration skills, problem solver, dedication to accuracy. Those are soft skills. They're inferred by the bullets that you are then highlighting. With the Aerospace Corporation, I'm just looking at what you wrote. You did a good job of walking the reader through what your responsibilities were, but what I don't see, I see an accomplishment, bullet number 3 as the second part of the sentence. What I would question if I was walking through this with you, you said you updated the house style guide. Why did it need updating? Was it leading to inaccuracies? Was it leading to people writing ad hoc? Listing that problem and showing what you did to improve it shows, again, that context.
Right. So for example, for that one, Virginia, if you updated it because now everybody was not only on the same page, but you reduced time to redo, you're ensuring consistent brand, you're increasing productivity because there aren't all of those redos. Whatever it is, there has to be a reason that happened. It wasn't just, it hasn't been done in a couple of years, so it's time.
So think about what was the situation in that department when you joined in 2021? What does it look like now? What did you do to get it to that end state? And then why did it matter? And that will help you formulate, I think, your bullets a little bit more deliberately for the reader.
Okay, can I jump to the Word version for a minute? So, because this is the part where I wanted to ask a question about.
Sure.
As far as the vertical spacing, this is just regular 0 space. And if I change this, it's not going to let me do it while I'm sharing. Oh, here we go. If I change this and add a little bit of space, I'm going to add 3 points first. So here is with 3 points. Yeah, there we go. And then here was 0. Any comments one way or the other? Do we care? Should it be more space?
I would, number 1, left justify your bullets. Do 0.5 in between each. And then if you need to save more space, you can condense the text a teeny bit.
Okay. Virginia, you're suggesting a right justified for the bullets?
Left justified. I said left, yeah. I'm left right challenged, yeah. Everything to go left, yeah.
Yeah, okay. By the way,
interesting, because usually bullets are indented a bit, but okay.
That's a print. That's how we were taught to write in print.
The only times, yes, you can do it either way. The reason, if you had 2 companies or 2 titles at the same company, then yes, you may want to indent some of that so that it shows that it's all the same organization. But otherwise this works. The standard word formatting for bullets works. But the more space, if you can make it easier to read, that's good.
Okay, now as far as that vertical spacing, by changing it by, as opposed to doing a hard return, by adding vertical space using the word settings, in this case, formatting the paragraph.
Right.
Does an ATS or something like that recognize that extra space when put in that way?
It'll be
Or
fine.
will it just automatically eliminate it and compress it?
No, it'll be fine.
It's fine,
Okay.
and the spacing's for the human reader. ATS
Yep.
doesn't care about that stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. But can you go to your skills, please? Because I can't. Okay. So again, you're a technical editor. One of the things that you like to do is you like to include all your information, make sure that it's all relevant to the job. But human eye, reading those skills is tough. The machine will read them.
Yeah.
Human can't.
I was adjusting some things in real time while I was listening to the others, but I didn't do it with that.
Okay. So I would prefer to see fewer skills if you need them, but make them easier to read. Machine will read it this way. I'll stop.
Yeah, tabbed columns.
Yeah.
No, not
your text, your text skills are great. One thing you can do is you can say, these are my productivity tools. These are my collaboration tools. These are my design tools. And that might help organize things a little bit too.
Okay, and one thing I've tried, I don't know how much it helps, but to subliminally draw the eye to the ones that came from, and this goes with both of the skills and technology skills, the ones that came from the job descriptions. The overall font size is 10.5, and I increased, like for the MS Office Advanced Word, Excel, PowerPoint, that's a typical one that is in a job description. I changed that to 11.
Okay,
So it's just a tiny bit larger.
And I understand that. But MS Office,
do we care?
Right now,
that's
all of that
stakes,
stuff,
yeah.
It's like saying you know how to answer the phone.
Yeah.
Well, again, that is something that's part of the job description, so it's keywords.
No, but it's not a keyword I'm going to search for.
Right.
You have to use your own judgment as well. Just because it's there, right now you're adding that's front loading. You're trying to keyword stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Mac,
want the
Windows,
jobs.
Office. Those are table stakes. The Adobe stuff is probably important. The AI stuff is important.
Right. The only reason I would include Excel for you is if you're doing Excel for analysis and then you want to say something about that.
Okay, then you say big lookups and macros and all that stuff.
Exactly. As opposed to just advanced Excel, Microsoft, whatever it is. Everybody has that. I'm not looking for it. Job descriptions include it because they're trying to do a CYA, not because they're going to search on it. They expect you to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the stuff with that tech editing is going to be Word and some will specifically mention, templates, styles.
And say templates and
stuff
styles.
like that.
Templates and styles,
Don't
yeah.
say Word. You can say templates and styles. Think about, you're a text editor, right? You understand what's important in what you're seeing. If you're trying to limit the information in that text, whatever it is you're editing, to those things which are most important, eliminate the rest. Don't just copy and paste from the job description. You want those terms if they're relevant for the job. If they are discriminators for the job. So Vicky, for example, or David, who was applying for an admin role, some of those might be. For the rest of us, it's expected. Even for the admin roles, it's expected.
Given that you're an editor, and with the world of AI, talk about how you use AI in your jobs. Maybe it's for research, maybe it's for something else. Maybe it's to help with design. Reference that. And maybe it's to create workflows and make things easier. But just listing that you work with Perplexity for the role that you're targeting doesn't cut it.
Right. So talk about having done research with Perplexity, doing something with it. Or the other thing you could do is if you've taken a recent, can you go to your education and classes, Victor? Professional development, okay. So if you have recent classes in AI, that's a great place to put it. You don't need to necessarily put it elsewhere, unless you're using it as part of your editing process in something.
Right.
And then you put it as part of the bullet. Use Perplexity to do this, or using Perplexity for research accomplish this.
Your additional experience, with additional experience, you should not allot as much space as you do for something that happened in the last 10, 15 years.
Nope.
What I would ask you is, what about your Air Force tenure is relevant to your work today? Maybe it's a skill you learn, maybe it's the leadership that you bring to the table, whatever it is, that's what you put. You don't, and it's a 1-2 line thing.
Right.
If you're earlier, can you scroll up to the above the additional experience? It looked like you went back pretty far. Okay, so the 2000 to 2012 stuff, I would put that under the earlier experience as well, removing the dates from it. And again, saying why is that relevant?
Right. And for that additional and you should say additional relevant experience or additional related experience. It's not everything you've done. It's what's done that's important for me.
Right.
And in that additional section, you can refer to what you did there as one of your accomplishments if you need to. But talking from a hiring standpoint, if it's older than 10 years, I'm probably not going to pay that much attention to it anyway because things have changed.
Yeah. The
notary.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The notary work. I'm not sure without knowing your story if there's a way to remove that. I'm sure you were trying to try to camouflage some gaps, but it seems to me you've got 2013. What is it? Yeah, you've got 13 years of experience, even if you don't list the notary stuff. So I'm not sure that you need to list it unless there's something super relevant about that work.
There isn't. It's more of a gap filler.
Right. You by starting in 2013, you've got 13 years of experience, and that's probably more than enough for what the roles you're targeting.
Right. If you've got a problem, if it was this last year, that's a different story.
Right, right.
Okay.
Everything you write needs to tie back to what your role is.
And what the role is that you're looking for.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I meant to say.
Okay. It's not about everything you've ever done. It's about what you can do for me. If it isn't relevant to my job, even though you're really proud of it, it doesn't make any sense. Okay. So eliminate those things from the skills. Use it to hone down your bullets, your summary section.
And so with these other jobs, there are probably parts of the roles like at Episource and South Bay that are relevant to being a technical editor, but some of it probably are not.
Right.
Remove the stuff that's not relevant.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Virginia, this has been fantastic. Thank you. And thank you for going overtime like this.
Yeah, no, my pleasure.
For those of you who we didn't get to, I apologize. What you're telling me is we need to do this again. Thank you.
Next time we can talk about LinkedIn's.
We can. So Virginia, did you include your information in the chat as to how people
I did at the very top, yep.
Perfect. Okay. And we do include, as I mentioned, we include that in the private group. So I am going to stop the recordings.
Oh, there.
All right. I need to hop off, guys. Take care.
No,
Thanks.
thank you very much.
All right.
We really appreciate
Bye-bye.
it.